Hi Flosstube, it's Karen, recovering monogamous stitcher. Today is Friday, August 29, 2025, and I am here today to record video number 77 on my channel. Thank you so much for coming and joining me today. I appreciate my longtime subscribers coming back and continuing to support me and let me know that they enjoy what I show. And I appreciate my new subscribers. I continue to get new subscribers all the time. And I'm happy you stumbled across my channel and decided that you liked it enough that you wanted to come back. Welcome, welcome. And we've been welcoming so many lately that I have reached the 5,000 subscriber level. It's a milestone in Flosstube, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I will continue to remember that I'm getting new viewers, and I need to be more explicit and not use jargon and shortcuts in explanations. So thank you, and continue to let me know in your comments when I forget to do that. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is I want to refer back to past videos and comments that we've had. I have shown several of my grandmother's quilts that I am in possession of now, and I have labeled them, but there is so much information that I can tell about the quilts that I can't put on a label. And a couple of videos ago, I think Merritt Crawford emailed me probably within an hour of when I put my video up and said, here are the two companies that do QR codes for quilt labels. One of them seems to be no longer a going concern, but Quilt Story Labels is in business. And I told you last time that I appreciated the labels, but they all had cartoony pictures on, which were fine, but I didn't want those on my label. And I wrote an email to the company asking if I could have a blank label with just the QR code that I could write my own information on. And they got back to me very promptly and said, yes, that's perfectly possible. And I had to, well, I said there were 3 quilts I was interested in labeling, and so I had to name them so that when I send the information in, they know which QR code to put with which quilt. But I'm going to start with just one, make sure I know how to do the technology, and then I'll go on to the other ones. So I'm at the point now where I have to set up my account and get my information input into the account so they can get it all put together and then have it connected to the QR code. And that'll get done soon. And I thank you all so much for the support and helping me figure out how I can preserve that information about my grandmother's precious quilts. Okay, so that's all from past videos. So now I'm going to get into it. My book of days. This is the August book of days. And there were days with no stitching. That happens sometimes. But it was a busy month. It was a great month. We've had 2 family visits. I went to a retreat, and we've had the state fair, and we'll talk about that later. And so it's been a busy time. So I don't regret any of the non-stitching days. I've still accomplished quite a bit. So let's move on, and let me show you what I have fully finished since my last video. You've seen my progress on Red, White, and Bloom. This is from Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread, and this little booklet has 5 different pillow patterns in it, and I have completed them all, and I have now fully finished them all. The first one I'll show. This is the biggest one, and I've tried to put something decorative on each of them, and I had these 2 pins with the red heads, and I thought they looked good. The trim is chenille, and I bought that from Colorado Cross Stitcher. I don't know the name of it. She doesn't have a name on it. You just choose the color. And this is the backing fabric. I put the same fabric on all of the little pillows. And I'm sure I've had that fabric since early 1990s. It's been around a long time. So it worked out well for this application. Here's another of the pillows. This one has a year charm and a red button. And again, same backing. Then, oops, what's that fuzzy? There's the Eagle of the Garden, and this has, tangled. This has a year charm, and it has a bee, tiny little bee charm on it, because there are bees on there are bees on several of the pillows, but that worked on that one. Here's the little, I don't know, Lady Liberty, or I don't know what they called it. I don't remember what they called it. And again, I put a couple of red buttons, tied it on with that baker's twine. Same backing, same trim. And I used crushed walnut shells. And I did put a little extra stuffing in the corners, so hopefully, you know, the corners stay filled. That's always a challenge. This one has some antique buttons. These came out of my mother's button box and a year charm. So I like the weight of them. The walnut shells always adds a nice little weight, and these will stand up nicely in a bowl when I set up the display. Okay, the next one, Spell of the Moon, comes from Winds of Autumn book from Blackbird Designs. And I showed this to you last time. I think I had done everything but the trim. Okay, the trim, I got at Hobby Lobby, which I like. It's a little fancy. Now in the book, the trim they used, oh, for heaven's sakes, now where is it? I can show you a picture of it. Where is that one? Page 4. I can show you. Okay. Okay, you see the picture? It's a very sparkly, kind of beaded trim, and that's the idea I wanted. And I found this at Hobby Lobby, and I think it gave a nice finish. I sewed it on like I would any cording, but it is twisted, and I had to keep, of course, as I'm going around, keep twisting it so I didn't have loose loops, and get it all down. And then at the end where I made the joint, it's okay. It's not perfect, but there's a little lump there. But so when I got to the ends, the cut ends, I twisted my thread around and around and around, did like triple knots. And then I used Elaine's glue so that they would stay, and I glued them down, both ends together. So there's a little distortion there. It's thick, and the Elaine's made it a little dull there, but it's fine. It's good. Good weight. I like the walnut shells in it, and there's Spell of the Moon. Finally done. Okay, those are my fully finished items. Oh no, I have one more fully finished item. Hang on. Queen City Sampler Guild is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, and I had an opportunity to take an online class from Samplerbird Stitchery, Robin Shappell, and we purchased a kit. If you wanted to do the class, you purchased the kit, and we got everything we needed to complete the project. Now, there was also a second class to do scissor fob. I didn't do that. I did the pin cushion and the counting pins. So look at the counting pins. They're so cool. This was, 30, what count was that? 32 count cream linen, and that came in the kit, of course. And then the edges are finished with nun stitch, which of course gives a finish so it won't unravel. And then threads are pulled around the edge so you can cut in that little trench that the pulled thread leaves. And then each of them are different flowers. They're so pretty, so cute. And a little piece of wool on the back just to finish it off. So I know how to make those counting pins now. And the appropriate pin at the top with the crown because it's Queen City's anniversary. And that pretty shiny fabric. It was a little tough to sew on, but it made a nice finish, very pretty. So this was a completed item. And I've talked before about Queen City Sampler Guild, how I'm, 2 hours away from many of their meetings, but I do most. I've only gone to one thing in person. And so I do online opportunities, and there's so many of them offered through the year. I feel my $35 membership is well worth it because there are lectures and all kinds of things where you don't pay anything extra. It's just included with your membership, and it's very well worth it. Okay, now with that class, I have a finished stitch, but it's not fully finished yet. With that class, we also got the pattern to do a needlebook. So this is the pattern, and you see those same flowers that are on the little counting pins, and it's celebrating 30 years of needlework and friendship. And again, this nun stitch all around the outside. And I will finish that into a needlebook. Okay, let's see. Did I do everything I wanted to do? Yes, I will be back in just a minute. Okay, I'm back. I want to talk to you about the Stars and Stripes Sal that Janet at My Mother's Daughter KY and I are hosting on Instagram and on Facebook. And Janet tells me we already have 100 people in the Facebook group. I'm really excited about that. But if you haven't heard about it, let me tell you about the sal that we're doing. We have chosen to do these two patterns, stars from Plum Street Sampler and ampersand, and stripes from Shakespeare's Peddler. They designed these in collaboration with each other, and they came out at market, I believe, last year. So many of you probably already have these. You bought them last year and either started them and put them aside and forgot, or are ready to finish them now, or if you're just hearing about this, you have time to run out and get the patterns. Janet and I have come up with a plan that will, if you stick with the timeline, you will get these finished by Memorial Day, fully finished, and you'll be able to have your patriotic display up all summer to celebrate our country's 250th anniversary. Okay, so I have put in the notes below a link to our Facebook page, and we are also on Instagram at #StarsAndStripesSal, and as many of you know, Sal means stitch along or start along, depending on how you want to do it. And I want to thank very much Sarah at Sarah's Stitchy Spot, Tara at Sully's Stitches, and Holly at Hobbies of Holly for shouting out our stitch along. I really appreciate it. I'm happy to get the word out, and the more the merrier. I would love to have everybody join us. Even if you've already started stitching, great, join the Sal and you can be encouraged to get it finished. Now I'm going to show you where I am. We had given an official start date of September 1st, but as you know, September is Sampler September, and that's serious for me because I like reproduction samplers. So I needed to get a head start on this so that I get my September assignment done, but still get to my samplers. So I have started on stars, and in the plan that we have for you to get finished, each of these are divided into 4 months of stitching. And the ampersand, so this one is 4 months of stitching, and the ampersand is 1 month of stitching. So the pattern is 110 stitches wide, 110 stitches high. So if it's divided into equal fourths, you would be stitching 55 stitches wide, 55 stitches high, which comes out to 3,025 if it's full coverage, it would be stitches, but squares, okay, on your pattern, it's the squares on the pattern, so and of course many of them are blank. So what I'm going to do, I want to finish the bunting across the top. I want to finish this along the bottom, and I'll make sure that I have covered at least 3,025 of the squares so that I get my quarter of that design done, even though I'm not just doing a straight quarter out of the corner. Just to me, this made sense to me. I wanted to have my top established. I want the bottom established. I like building a house from bottom up so I don't mess up my counting. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm using, no, I'm not using, it's a combination of Weeks and Classic Color Works and DMCs, and I'm using all of the called for as the designers called for them. And I'm doing this on 40 count Milk and Honey from Fiber on a Whim. And I think the colors are showing up great. So this is my start. I'm not done. I need to get my 3,025 worth of squares covered. So this is my start. And you know, you're stitching your rules. If you want to start early, start early. If you want to drop out at some point, drop out at some point. Make yourself happy. But we really think everyone will be happy to have something new and fresh in their patriotic display for next year. So that, I believe, gets us going on that. Now, I have put in the notes below a link to our Facebook group. And on Instagram, we are #StarsAndStripesSal. Let's see. Now, let me also show you, I have the finishing. Janet shared with me the little piece of ribbon. That's the special finishing on the ampersand. Also on the ampersand, there's a little button from Just Another Button Company, which I ordered and received. And ta-da, I ordered a second one for one of you. So if you would like, and I'll mail this anywhere. So an international viewer is welcome to try for this also. If you are a member of our Facebook group and on a comment on this video, not a comment on Facebook, but a comment on this video, include the word button, I will do a random comment selector before my next video, which is September 12th, sorry. And I will, early that morning, I will do the random comment picker and someone will win this button. So if you have not purchased it for your finish already, give it a try. Now remember, the comment goes on this video. The comment does not go on Facebook, okay? That'll be fun. Okay, so that's it for that. Now, we're going to look at my whips. So the stars, of course, was one of the whips that I started. And I had a new start. I bought this when I was at Hobby House. This is another Hands Across the Sea, a red sampler by a little girl. This is Fanny Louisa Parker. And on one of our Zooms the other night, I think it was Janet who said, "Really, you needed another red sampler by a little girl?" Yes, I needed another red sampler by a little girl. So this is the one I started. And this is my progress. Now, you'll notice this is, something's wrong down here. I'll tell you what happened. I'm doing this for a very specific reason. I decided I'm going to take out some blank rows and scoot these up a little bit because I can make this fit in this frame if it's just a little bit shorter. So I went through and found some blank rows that I could take out, just eliminate and scoot these dividing lines up. And then this will fit in that frame. So I'm in the process of doing that. I've done this one, I've moved up, started it, and I'll get this out, and then I'll come down and take out a blank. And anyway, so I'm moving it up probably about 1/4 of an inch. So it's going to fit in that frame. And let me show you why I'm fitting it in that frame. Okay, I can't. I had the clearance price. It was in clearance. It was $14. Where'd it go? Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, take my word for it. It was $14, $14.50 actually. So that's why I'm doing that. Just taking out a few spaces. I don't think that's changing the little girl's work. I'm just spacing it differently. So, okay, let's see. That's that. Okay, next I stitched on my focus piece. And for those of you who are new here, I always have a focus piece. And it is my oldest whip, which is a work in progress. And I give it 7 days of stitching in a month. Every month, whether it's 7 days in a row or mixed around in the month, doesn't matter, but I give it 7 days of stitching in a month, and it remains my focus piece until it is finished because I don't like lingering projects that don't get done. So my current focus piece is Gott, and this pattern is from Needlework Press. And she's a big girl. I'm stitching her on a 46 count to make her just a little bit smaller. So, there it is. That's why I'm adjusting that red sampler. Okay, so I think I've only given this 2 days this month. I finished this basket entirely, and I've started filling in the house. The house was outlined. The roof was done, and the house was outlined. So I'm painting a house. So she will remain my focus piece, but Sampler September overrides focus piece, overrides little red sampler. Sampler September is Sampler September. So I'll get to that in a minute. And I have one item of haul to show you. Okay, it's the Sew Sampler box from Fat Quarter Shop. Now, I've not opened mine. I did see someone else do an opening on their video, but I haven't opened mine. I did slice the tape so I can show you faster. Okay. Okay, this month's theme is Sewing Wild. So let's see. The value of, for these, we've gotten charm packs, 3 charm packs in the box at a value of $37.44. Okay, a disappearing marker, a disappearing air erasable fabric pen with the value of $3.98. Rain. Okay, we got a pattern for a table runner, which these charm packs would go for. And let's see, that value is $9.98. And we got a tool. Did I skip something here? Probably. We got a tool here, a 4-in-1 hexie, and this is a Creative Grids ruler. And I'm sure it's used in this pattern with these charm packs. And then we got the 5th pattern in the flowers, what's it called, wallflower? No, the flowering 5th pattern in the series. And they do that, 12 in a series. So there, very nice. Very nice. I have to look this over, this pattern, and see what I'll do. But see, it's got hexies, diamonds. So it would be fun. That's kind of like the Christmas pillows I did. Remember the hexies with whites and colors? And okay, that's the haul. Okay, now I'm going to pause a minute and we will continue. Okay, I'm back. Let's talk about Sampler September. I have made my plans for Sampler September, and as usual, I have over-planned, but that's the way it goes with me. Last year I did a 5x5. In which I chose 5 samplers, and I sewed 5 days on each of those 5 samplers, and then I had a few extra days to either do more time on one of those or do something else that I wanted to do. So this time I couldn't get it down to 5. I have 6, and so when I get down to the last one, I don't know, see which one's yelling loudest at me or what one I feel like. So I'll show you the 6 that I'm doing. And the first 4 are definites, and then the last 2 are one or the other. Okay, so 5 days I'm going to stitch on Katharina Adriana Lunason, 1777, and the large figure in the center is a goddess for seafarers. And the original hangs in a museum in Netherlands. I don't remember where. I should have looked it up. Okay, so this is where I am so far, and this needs some attention. She's a big girl. This one is 339 stitches wide and 334 stitches high. She's going to be big. And I'm stitching her on 46 count, which helps make it a little bit smaller in the finish. 46 count praline from Forbidden Fiber Co. And I'm using all DMC colors. The company that I got this from was 1884 Stitchery. Whoops. 1884 Stitchery. It's beautiful. It's fun. I love stitching on it. It just doesn't come up in my rotation and it gets ignored. So it's a prime candidate for Sampler September. The next one, another big girl, Susanna Lawton, and this is from Queenstown Sampler. Queenstown Sampler. This is a computer rendition. It's not a picture of the actual antique. And I've just done a pitiful little start on it. That's all I've done. She needs time. So again, perfect candidate for sampler September. She is a big girl also. She's 304 stitches wide by 307 stitches long. I'm stitching it on 45 count jersey cream from Legacy Linens, and I'm using all DMCs, and there are 38 different colors in this. So she's a challenge. There are no specialty stitches, but that's a lot of color changes. Okay, nice. Now, so those were two, and they were my big awesome projects. And I didn't get to one of those this month either. So, all right. Next, Florence Mary Dickinson. She's a for sure from Hands Across the Sea, and this was an exclusive through Hobby House in New York. I love this one. Of course, I don't even, why do I even say it? I love this one. I have the entire border finished, and the last time I stitched, I got one bird done in the corner. Okay, so I've done, I ate my vegetables, the border is all done, now I get to do all the fun stuff in the middle. So 5 days on Florence Mary Dickinson, and I should see a significant progress on that. So looking forward to it. I love that one. Again, I said it again. I wasn't going to say it. I don't need to say it, but I did. The next for sure is Jessie Challenor. This is from Hands Across the Sea, and it's an exclusive through the Attic in Mesa, Arizona. And it has two different colorways. I've said this before, and you may have seen this before, but if not, the front, or the bright is the color that the little girl saw when she stitched it. And the more muted color is the faded of the piece. As it has gotten older, it's faded, and those are the colors that it is now. I've chosen to do the bright colorway as the little girl saw it. And this is my start on Jessie Challenor. 5 days would give me some good progress on this. I love these flowers. Of course, the flowers are going to be repeated over here. And then I get down to the two birds and a big pot in the middle. But the color, I love the colors. Love it, love it. And I'm stitching this on 40 count haberdashery, medium light, from Mason Linen, and I'm using all called for DMC. Nicola does such a good job selecting DMCs. They're very true to the colors. I trust her with that. Okay, now here are the ones that will be a toss-up. They'll either have to arm wrestle it out, or I'll see who's yelling at me loudest. Okay, Mrs. Campbell. Again, Hands Across the Sea, and this was my birthday start this year. Let's see, I'll show what I've got so far. Where's my board? I can't grab the board here. Okay. Okay, I have the bones of the border done, but I have to do some lines in here. It gets divided like it is up here, down here. And of course, I have to continue all the flowers around. Those flowers glow. Look at the centers of those flowers. They're beautiful. So that's Mrs. Campbell. One possibility. When my birthday start. And then the other possibility is Margaret Coy. This is the one we received at the Hobby House retreat in Rochester, New York. This is Hands Across the Sea, as I said, Nicola Parkman. And I love it. The design is so unique. And I've talked about that before, with the polka dance and the Tom Thumb's carriage. It's totally different than most of the samplers we see. So that's Margaret Coy. So there you go. I have 6 choices for 5 and 5, 5 by 5. Okay, I have done some other sewing, and I will show you in just a minute. Okay, I'm back. I have been doing other sewing also since the last time we were together, and I want to show that these projects to you. When we were at Hobby House, Nicola presented each of the attendees with a project to make the project, I mean a panel of fabric that you cut apart and make a project bag. So I've done this one, and this is Margaret Coy, of course, the project I just showed you as a possibility for Sampler September. And this is the bag. It's very easy. There's no measuring. You just cut the pre-printed fabric and put it together. Now, I did do a few changes. I used foam in the back like I do when I make project bags because I like substantial project bag, and just did crosshatch quilting. I also added a D-ring here so that when I'm done with Margaret Coy and she's no longer in here and I use this for a different project, I can put one of those hang tags with the name of whatever project is in here since it's not vinyl front. That's kind of why I prefer vinyl front, because you can always see what's in there. But this is a beautiful bag, and this fabric that Nicola uses to print on is more substantial than quilting fabric. It might be closer to a decorator weight. Maybe not quite a decorator weight, but it's very substantial fabric. It's very nice to work with. But like I say, I put my foam in the back. Okay, another project. Now this was purchased. This was, Nicola designed this, and it's called a sewing companion. Again, it was printed, a printed panel of fabric that was cut apart. And so one of the panels was this outer fabric. Another panel was the inner fabric that folded into pockets. It was a long piece, and you folded it and pressed it and folded it and pressed it. And then there were other strips for the binding. And her directions had you put a sew-in magnet. No, I'm bending it. A sew-in magnet on the inside so it would stay closed. There's a magnet. It's in there. It holds it closed. Now, if you were at this retreat and have not yet made this, let me tell you the mistakes I made. Nicola shows a very specific product that she used as her liner, her interfacing that gave some body to the project. And she gave a specific Amazon number or name of a product. And when I looked at that on Amazon, it had that number, but it did not look at all like what she showed. What she showed looked like a plastic, relatively thin, but it had some movement to it, but it was sturdy. Okay. And what I saw online looked like regular interfacing that, you know, you can buy in lightweight, medium weight, heavyweight, and so I didn't get that it was, I didn't understand what it was. I don't think what was available on Amazon in the United States is the same as what she bought. So I made this, first I made it with the foam like I use in my project bags. Don't do that, it's too thick. It worked fine, it looked beautiful, but when you folded it up, it was so fat that it kind of, it didn't want to line up right, and the magnets, it didn't magnetize because it couldn't go through all that thickness, so don't do that. What I ended up using was fusible fleece, a Pellon fusible fleece. So it has body, works, the magnets work, it all works. So that's just a heads up in case you were thinking you would use the foam. Another little project that came in that package is a Hexie pincushion. And of course she shows doing it handwork, and I don't like sewing by hand. I think my hand stitches are messy, so I did it on machine. Marked my lines, did my stitching, stopped exactly at the intersection, and then sew it up. So I sewed it by machine, all except the last two sides on the top that I finished by hand. And I filled it with walnut shells. And it's a nice little pincushion, so cute. And these these fabrics match that sewing companion. So that's that one. Okay, now State Fair review. Okay, I entered 3 quilts and 7 cross-stitch projects in the fair. I'll show you the ribbons on the quilts. All 3 quilts got a ribbon. 1, 2, 3, 4 of my cross-stitch received ribbons. So I'll start with the perforated paper. Mary Amelia's Bird, the perforated paper category. This is the first time I did the perforated paper category. The winner in the perforated paper category made a scissor case with perforated paper. Had some long stitches on it, was very attractive, and Mary Amelia's Bird got second place. Happy with that. First time I did perforated paper. Thank you very much. Okay, the next one, the entry was, you know, they're divided into some things that are stitched on Ada, and then other things that are stitched on specialty fabric. This is called a specialty fabric. It's linen. And I stitched this on 40 count, color and cotton, cottage stone was the color of the fabric. And this is a Vicki Clayton conversion. The first place had sparkles. You know, like, I don't know, Kreinik, or, I don't, you know, so it was very pretty. It was very pretty. But in more than one category, I could see the judges liked sparkles. So if you do things with beads and sparkly, enter the fair. Anyway, so this Smith sampler, second place, which I'm not complaining. It's not bad. But look at this, how it came back. Hole in the back. Not happy with that. But there you go. Okay, and then my two most successful. Festive Forest was entered in the category of a piece finished from a class. And this, of course, was a class I took at Jingle Ball last year online. Janine McGowan. It was called Festive Forest. I'll bet this is going to be released this year. And I had finished it with a tassel on the top, and that took first place in a finish from a class. And then in the sampler category, I had entered A Stitch in Time Saves 9 from Hands Across the Sea. And I had thought maybe, you know, all those dividing lines, there were specialty stitches, kind of fancy. And yes, she won. She won first place. So happy with that, very happy with that. There was a lot of competition in the sampler category. Okay, now I'm going to stop the camera so I can carry it back by the quilts, and we'll talk about the quilts. And then don't leave, because I have celebration stuff to talk about at the end. Hang on. Okay, I have 3 quilts that I entered. Vice Versa was entered in traditional modern. Tannenbaum was entered in holiday. And Patchwork Barn was entered in machine pieced and quilted wall hanging, because it's not big enough to be in the large quilt category. So the Vice Versa, I knew, if you remember when I first was showing this, when it was not quilted yet, there were some places I saw that I needed to take apart and fix the points, and I could do that to some extent, but the very center I really couldn't do because of all the sashings and so forth. So that was a comment on the sheet, that there were points in the center that were not well done. And also, as it was on the quilting machine, I could see that there were like dark threads showing. Some places a dark thread would show behind the light, and some I could get out. I have a tool with a little hook on the end, and it's very fine, and I can put it under the fabric and grab a thread and pull it out, but I could not get all of them, and that was not unnoticed by the judges. So there were 2 dings on that one, and this one took third. And for those dings, I'm happy that it took third. Okay, Tannenbaum got all excellent reviews on the sheet. There was no negatives on it at all. And actually the number 1 was quite extraordinary, so I was happy to get second place on Tannenbaum. Patchwork Barn, Actually, they were all marked satisfactory. Not excellent, but just satisfactory, but the whole way. And there were no negatives. And Patchwork Barn, oops, got second place. So there you are. There's no telling what you're going to get. Okay, I'm not even going to try to restart this. I want you to know that my next video is going to be on September 12th, and I am going to be prepared to have a celebration over my 3 years on Flosstube and reaching 5,000 subscribers. So be prepared to come back on the 12th and here, and so you can enter. And then I will be doing comment pickers on the next, 2 weeks from that, the 26th, and that'll close that out. So come on back in 2 weeks, and we'll be talking about a celebration. And then, oh, don't forget the Sal. Go to Facebook, join the Facebook group if you're participating, and then use the word button in your comment on this video, not on Facebook, on this video. And I'll see you on September 12th. Thanks so much. Bye, Flosstube.